Drivers.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Myers, and today I'd like to introduce you to and Frank Aliamo from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Say again.
Close enough.
Close enough. Yeah, close enough. Anyway, they're going to talk to you. They're going to talk to us today about their success over the last 6 years in building their classroom technology. We're going to talk about standards, spaces, successes, stories. I'll let them handle the rest. All right.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting us to NWMED. We just, I don't know if you just expanded so you could have your conference in Las Vegas, but you know,
Yeah.
that's always an option, you know.
We see right through you. Yes.
But first I want to, I'm Scott Menter. I'm the manager of Classroom Technology Services. And this is Frank Aliamo, my audiovisual design specialist. A little bit about UNLV. We have a little over 28,000 students. So actually, but it's more of a computer school. There's probably about 2,100 students that actually live on campus. So everybody comes from the surrounding areas. We're on 332 acres. We're pretty much landlocked around the university. I don't know if anybody's been to UNLV, but you know, property is a little expensive in that area. But they just actually got 42 acres behind the MGM that they're looking for to build a stadium there. Hopefully we can get out of from the outside of town there. We currently support about 360 rooms. This was as of last week, but I'm sure you all, that number changes, you know, on a weekly, depending on who it is and stuff like that. And then we have general purpose is pretty much the rooms that we're physically responsible for. So this is ones that we have to install, upgrade, maintain, but we also have departmental rooms that we support. And I want to give you some of the past challenges. I've been there for just over 6 years now, okay? And when I got there, you know, everything was kind of scattered all over the place. We have personnel in probably about 4 different areas, you know, in different buildings and things. So what I did, I tried to bring them all together to share one space. Any procedures or anything that we were doing in there were really not defined. It's just kind of like, well, this is the way we've been doing it. And I'm sure you probably heard that before. Why change it? It's the way we've been doing it. So cronyism, when I say cronyism, I talk a little bit about the past directors, you know, friends of deans and things like that. They think they can get us in a little bit faster or whatever. So we just kind of stopped that, made a service level agreement that we support anybody and everybody. The only difference between a departmental room and a general purpose classroom is who is physically responsible for it, who is actually going to pay for the gear and the upgrade. And we try to work with them as much as we can to, if we got stuff on the shelf, we'll swap it out. We swap out projectors and things like that while theirs being serviced and things like that. So we do whatever we can to help out all the customers on campus, not just a select few friends of friends and things like that. There's really no sense of direction. It was pretty much come to work, fix the problems, and go home. Okay? So the big thing was everybody was kind of sat around and they were pretty much totally reactive. Okay, we really didn't have any funding or anything like that. Ever since I've been there, and every year I bring it up that we need a line item, reoccurring cost for replacement and upgrades of our classrooms. I still haven't got it, but we have been getting funding for the last couple of years. And the tune probably about $2.5 million in the last 3 years, just to put in classrooms, and we still haven't got them all updated. We did hit a milestone that all the general purpose classrooms are 100% multimedia classrooms. We don't have, and they all maintain a minimal standard projector. He'll go over this a little bit more, exactly what we have in the classrooms. Who we are. Actually, there's 5 people in my department. myself, the manager, my job is to remove roadblocks and get the team the resources they need to do their jobs. In other words, if you need test equipment, if you need sample equipment, training, whatever, that's where they come to me, and I try to get them their resources, so they can work and act independently. Rohan Palmer, he does all our computers in our classrooms. Frank, AV System Design Specialist, and project manager and everything else. Michael Thiel, our control system programmer. He does all our Crestron control panels. He'll be talking about that a little bit more, about how he came up with some of this really unique. It's even impressing, Crestron, what he came up with his touch panel, of what you can do on a touch panel. And then we have Matt Broughton, who is the AV Tech 2. He mainly does our day-to-day. He's our evening tech. But he also programs. He does a lot of the Extron stuff. And we're mostly a Crestron camp. But he's good for the evenings. Come on. Oh.
One thing.
One click. Just a minute. 30 seconds.
Back it up.
Okay. Some of the things that I personally is trying to be a leader instead of a boss. Okay, and I think that was one of our reasons for our success at UNLV. Is pretty much I brought everybody together in one central location. Let's see. Got a little note here. Okay, in being a leader and a boss, is pretty much, instead of you driving your employees, you coach your employees, what they do. And I've been in AV technology since 1980, okay? I worked for integrators, I worked for K-12, I worked for Louisiana Department of Education, I worked for Louisiana State University in their distance ed program, as well as their classroom technology. And then I just kind of got tired and retired and looked for another adventure. I ended up at UNLV. So I've been around for a while, and I see all the good things and bad things. But my personality fits this. A lot of bosses, they depend on authority. I depend on the goodwill. I want to give them the resources and everything, build them up to be successful. I try to generate enthusiasm, as opposed to inspiring fear. Second, instead of blaming people for breakdowns and everything, I don't know if y'all got bosses like that, or why'd you do this and everything like that, harp on that. It has nothing, as farthest from what happens in our department. It's pretty much break and fix them. If you mess up, fess up, come into my office and we'll work together to fix it. Okay? There's no blame. I don't blame anybody. It's not if you mess up, it's when you mess up and how bad you messed up.
Or how bad I'm about to mess up.
Yeah. He even comes in my office and say, "Excuse me, I'm going to go mess up right now."
Preemptive strike. I get myself in trouble.
Right. As opposed to saying I, we say we. A lot of people is, you think they know how it's done and try to push it to, but you got to be able as a leader to be actually to show people how it's done. You have to develop your people, to be self-sufficient and give them the benefit of the doubt and what they're trying to do. Instead of telling somebody, you ask somebody to do something, you're a lot more responsive as opposed to inciting fear into them. And the other one that says, a boss would tell you to here, go do it. It's kind of more like, let's do it, okay? Because, when his first day on the job, I'm standing on a ladder trying to get a screen repaired, and so he came in and it's kind of like, what's my boss doing up on a ladder, But I do service calls, I jump in, I'm pretty much kind of the level-headed guy as opposed to, the rest of the staff is kind of all over the place and everything like that. So they kind of run things through me to kind of like calm things down a little bit and get a little bit more focus at what we're trying to do. Is it? One time.
It's doing something, I don't
Yeah,
know.
next slide has a lot of pictures too.
Okay.
That's fine.
In our time, in our team, everyone has a voice. I get a team buy-in. Okay, I actually sit down and we actually develop our own goals and what do we want to do as a department. I have smart enough guys to kind of like, okay, this is where we want to go. You try to get them a buy-in so they can work independently. You know, we all try to come up with a common goal, and you got to trust yourself that you're going to make the right decision. If they don't make the right decision, we talk about it, why it wasn't the right decision, but nobody's chastised, no one's threatened or anything like that. It's a very non-confrontational office, sometimes, okay? Sometimes. But we always talk about the best solutions. We have a weekly or bi-weekly meeting. You know, more often if we got big projects that we need to get everybody on the same page. And also we build from in. Matt and Mike, as you've seen up on the slide before, our programmers actually were of ours, okay? And actually when he graduated, Mike actually has a computer science degree as well as a mathematics degree. That's Mike there. And Matt's just finishing up his electrical engineering computer science degree. But when they came in, they kind of loved AV, you know. It's part of the IT world, but you actually see results, you know, as opposed to data streams going by. You know, you get to see a presentation, you get to start a project, you get to finish a project. So that's why I kind of, that's why I love the industry myself, you know. So, and another thing that and don't be afraid to innovate and don't be afraid to fail. Because if you fail, you just learn from something. So, enrichment. Okay, there's one thing that when it comes to UNLV, that's what they do. They give us a big budget for training and development. Okay.
More money than we can actually spend.
More money than
What, like a lot of schools don't get. We actually get a training budget. It's an unbelievable amount of money. I think we
Five
get like
people with
$12,000 each or something like that for a year.
And that
We couldn't
doesn't
spend that if we tried. Half of the organizations we're members of, you get the educational rate and you're paying peanuts. I mean,
Yeah.
InfoComm costs us next to nothing, especially when it's in Vegas.
Yeah.
And our travel is not included in the training. That's somebody else's budget.
Yeah.
So we don't have to pay for travel. So just our physical certifications, our books and that stuff, we get a ton of money. So we just use the hell out of it. Every
Yeah.
time we get a chance to. Somebody, like my guy right now, Mike, he's at BSS training for the last 2 days at Harvard. Just because it was in town, it was free. See ya. So he's gone for training. He's learning more. Like he's scary smart.
We have, which actually is, I don't know how many CTSs are up there, okay? How many CTSs do you have on your staff? Okay, we have 4 CTSs certified, and the last one, Matt's taken his in June, okay? So we're DMCE engineered certified, you know, with Crestron. We're 4K design with Crestron. We got the Extron Associates. We got AQAV, which set a standard for classroom, for technology, punch lists and stuff like that. This is some of the certifications that we look for, okay? And so we continually, but if you really like what you're doing, if you like AV in general and stuff like that, you can bring this stuff back and actually apply it to your position and your jobs, or if anything, give you a base, general knowledge base. And this is what we do on a daily basis. And they swear they did not do it on their own time, okay? But that was Rohan Palmer, and that's actually the 3 kids, or student workers that actually produced it. But he's gonna actually tell you what we really do. Here's
That's
Frank.
not what we really do?
Yeah.
So, I'm Frank. I'm, as Scott likes to say, I'm the other one. I'm the loud guy in our office. He's like the non-confrontational guy. I'm outside of the drawbridge, is what I call the office, the real world on campus. My job is to get the resources that he gave me, I need to go and now put into action. And I'll get through that a little bit later, and I'll get into what I'm saying. But generally, on our general basis, what we do, our general purpose classrooms, Scott got into that, we're fiscally responsible for those rooms. We've recently got a couple $100,000, a couple $1 million, however you want to slice it, over the last few years through our, they call it capital improvement. So they have extra money left over, and they call different departments and they say, how much money do you need to get what you got to do? How much money do you need? And one of the vice presidents has given us money lately, and it's been going down, but we've been getting a lot done. Like Scott said, we have 180 plus general purpose classrooms. That's a lot of classrooms. I'm not sure how the sizes of any of your campuses, if you have that many, if you don't have that many, if you have the funding, don't have the funding. We all have the same challenges. You don't have the time to do that. We try and do all of ours over the summer with a little bit of funding, and it's all going to meet deadlines and all that crap. My job is to make sure all of those deadlines are met and all that stuff happens before school starts in September. So, getting on with that, I'll get into the consultation and design stuff on a later slide. We do the iClickers, we get the faculty started, we get faculty training on how to use iClickers. Some instructors are new to it, some of the students are new to it, so the students buy their stuff at the bookstore, they come to our office to get training on all that stuff. We have 2 or 3 of our student workers, they're designated just to do that. They're really proficient at it, so if they asked us to do it, we'd sit there and our students actually know more than we know in certain things. We don't get bogged down with a lot of minutia. We have a very good staff. Rohan, who you saw earlier, trains all of our students, and finds somebody who gets a niche and he just puts them with it, and that's their gig. Everybody backs each other up for classroom support. When it comes to software or specialized stuff, we like to just put one person there, and they know the most about it, and they'll have a person that helps them out in case they're not there, and they pick up the slack. We do the video conferencing, setups, and stuff like that. I'm sure you guys do or don't do the same deal. Digital signage, we don't administer the digital signage. Our job is to make sure that the power and data is on the wall. We get the integrator or ourselves to get the display on the wall. We get it on the network, and then we turn it over to the owner of it, which is usually a department admin, and they get the training through physics, and they go through and they do all that kind of stuff. Faculty training, we have a piece in our office. We actually have, that's not it there, that's something else, but we have one of our classroom models in our office. It looks exactly like one of our instructor classrooms in our general room. Same color lectern, same touch panel, same computer, same everything. We train them in the office. They go to the classroom. It's exactly the same stuff. All of those rooms that we're building right now are exactly the same. So if they teach in one building and go to another building, it's exactly the same. The lectern might change a little bit, shape and size-wise, depending on the room, depending on prior conduits and such like that. But for the most part, 99% of them, they can go from one building to the next and not be confused. In the past, we've had two different systems. We've had an Extron system, a Crestron system, Crestron digital, Extron analog. It was a mess. So now we're finally getting to the point where we're standardized. Classroom software, Scott already talked about that. Our day-to-day, most of our offices, hours are 8 to 10, basically when there's classes. Anytime there's a class, we got somebody in the office. We have our own help desk. So that's our number that they can call directly from any line on campus, directly to our office, it rings. If they call the OIT help desk, they can then forward us to that. So there's two ways that classrooms can get in touch with us. They can, sometimes they just call OIT and OIT forwards it to us, or sometimes they just call us directly. So one way or the other, they're going to get to us quickly.
And that's a big advantage to having your own help desk as we're going through the OIT help desk, is because then we can train just the student workers that are handling the phones to where they can actually solve a lot of problems before even sending somebody out. You know, kind of like your on button is over here. Okay, that's the type of things that they can handle.
We make sure that we have at least one person on the phones and one person to hit the field at all times. Sometimes we're lucky and we get 2 or 3 overlap here and there, but we make sure we are 1-on-1 all the time. We are responsible for troubleshooting over the phone or in person. We try to get our class time response down to 10 minutes. We have a big campus. I just said we have golf carts. Problem with that is we have traffic. We have 30,000 kids walking around this campus at all times. Between the hours of 8 and 1, you might as well walk. The golf cart's useless, unless you can find a way around the outside of campus to get to one of the buildings you have to get to. So the 10-minute thing in the last year, we're kind of pushing that. That's a little further. Most of the time, we can fix it from the office now. We'll get to that in a second. Replace and repair. Ooh, wrong button. Replace and repair. We got a pretty good size of stock stuff. Extra equipment. Something breaks, grab it off the shelf. Out they go. Plug it back in. Get it to work. We'll talk about that in another slide. And our students, they generally know not to escalate to one of the full-time employees unless it's needed. We have 2 guys that are on that are our leads, so to speak, and they know as much as all of us. That training lectern that was in our office, we literally use that for training. So crack the door open, take it apart, rebuilt it. We just did it this week, as a matter of fact. One of our students, we gave him a line drawing, which I'll share with you in a little bit, and said, here, build this, and tell us if it works. And he built it, and we watched him do it. And we know then that our line drawings work. If a student can follow it, an integrator can follow it. If an integrator can't follow it, yeah, well, it is Las Vegas, right?
I don't know if you all got perfect integrators.
Well, the lowest bidder is not always the best bidder, so that's a different thing that we could talk about. To our standards, so back to that lectern deal, that's why we have our standards. We know that the DMPS goes here. We know the power supply goes here. Everything goes where it's supposed to go. So everything's got a label on it, everything's got a standard, it's easy to support that way. Back in the day, like I was saying earlier, we had multiple different systems, multiple manufacturers, multiple pieces of equipment. That's not a standard. That was detrimental to getting anything productively done. Well-designed classrooms do not occur by chance. That is something that we have built by experience, like Scott said earlier. If you failed with something, you've learned something. So we built a program, and the program, I think we're in version 15 or something, 70, whatever the hell. It's crazy. So every time an instructor calls with something, it's like, wow, we didn't think of that, or wow, that button should have did this, or he wanted to do that. Mike's back in the computer, fixing his program, pushing it out to 100 and some rooms, and all because somebody gave us an idea we didn't think of. So it's basically an organic system. It's constantly evolving. We're going to find more things out after we talk to some of you folks over the next couple of days. We'll be like, oh wow, they're doing something that we should be doing. Infocom, another deal. We're going to go there and we're going to learn all a bunch of new stuff. Anybody going to Infocom this year? Just 2 years, really? It's in Vegas, for God's sake.
Some of my teams.
We will be, and it doesn't leave this room because it doesn't get announced yet, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We are hosting a Crestron Owners Group meeting in one of our buildings. It's a 4-hour get-together. It's going to be invite only. But if you talk to me, I might be able to get you an invite beforehand. But anyhow, it's going to be in one of our buildings. It's going to be with 50 other Crestron users from across the country. And we're just going to sit around and bitch and moan about Crestron stuff. So if there's any Crestron people in here with drone, there's food and drink served.
Yeah. You said Crestron, not extra.
There you go. The rest of this stuff you guys can read when we send it to you. It's a bunch of crap. Anyway, guidelines, standards. So Infocom everybody knows about. AETM, anybody familiar with this one? Okay. These guys are in Australia. And these guys just worked with these guys to come up with a new standard that Infocom put out last year. And Infocom and AETM are pretty much setting the standard now for everybody. Everybody's pushing this big document. It's 150 some pages, it's ridiculously thick. But what we did is we took the best stuff out of here, the best stuff out of here, the best stuff out of here, and we built our own. So we don't feel there's a lot of things that we have control of. We can't control the design of the building in the room. That's the architects to screw that up. So the lighting, the carpet, all that stuff, that's taken into consideration. In these, we don't really have that say. They give us a shell and it's finished and they say, now make it work. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same boat. You got 50-year-old buildings that you have to make work. You got to renovate a concrete building with asbestos and pipes and everywhere. Or you got a brand new building with a perfect acoustical ceiling and a perfect tile and everything comes out great. And then they ask you, why is this room so great and this room sucks? And you're like, well, it's a 50-year-old room. You know, you can only put so much lipstick and mascara on it, right? As long as the equipment is there and the bones are there and you get it to work and they can teach, we call it a victory. But we take the best from these 3 groups and we make our own standards. I highly recommend looking these guys up, hopping online, and seeing their document. It's got some really creative stuff, and some of their things are spelled weird because they're Australian, but it's kind of funny.
Everything's in meters too on there.
We actually found the writer of it, the guy, the group, and the dude's name, I forget his name. And we emailed him, and he ended up calling us, and we had a conversation with him, and he was thrilled that we found it, and he was like, yeah, you guys can use whatever you want. So we took the verbiage and everything and made our own documents, because when we do a document that goes out to bid,
Last name is Cole.
we put our specifications on it, and we had their stuff printed. So we needed to get their permission to do that.
And actually, that is in a educational group that for all of Australia and New Zealand. And when they developed this document, the document was developed by representatives from each one of the universities all across the country. So they were really, it's really, really detailed to what you want, probably more detailed than what you need, but it's very well written and very well organized. Every time we start a standards document, we find something new. Or it's like, oh, we need to put that in there. So here's some of the documentation that we'll go over a little bit. We just released an RFP for 35 classrooms. It was just opened up last week of what we did. And we prepared all the bid documents for it. You know, the scope of work, the installation standards, as well as all the line drawings and everything else. Very, very detailed. I don't know if you guys, when you do an RFP, come back with a whole bunch of questions and stuff like that. The questions that were asked will fit on one page. It was very, very minimum, and it was a lot of stupid questions if you ask me. Where can I put a dumpster, you know?
So, like Scott was saying, so if most of your managers, do you have your own designers on staff that do your own line drawings? Do you have a consultant do it? Do you have an integrator do it? When you put something out to bid, how do you guys do it?
Usually with a consultant. Although that's frustrating because they don't get what we do, they get what they've seen everywhere else.
Okay.
And so a lot of times, you know, I've had to go back and redo a line drawing to make it what we need and not really what
Okay.
they just came
Go
up
ahead.
with.
We supplement our classroom standards document
Mhm.
that's been vetted and agreed to by the university to the RFP. And then if it calls for something more specific, for example, an Extron configuration that is mind-blowing to me still, we work with Extron to have them provide us the line drawing, and then we submit that as
Okay.
part of the package.
So essentially, all of this stuff, same deal. We had a consultant do it, or we had the integrator do it, or whoever. And that's at a cost, right? Well, we've developed in-house our own CAD guy now. He makes his own drawings. I work with the planning construction department to get the actual building documents, so we have the layouts and the floor plans and all that stuff. So we put all the time in this time for this project. We want to see if we can swing a bat and hit, and we actually just hit a home run. So we'll get into the documents, and I have a bunch of paper copies here. The print's a little small. If anybody wants any, feel free to take whatever you want off of here. This is just stuff we're trying not to take back on the plane with us. But we're pretty proud of it because it was the first RFP that we put out. We had one addendum. Like Scott was saying, there was 20 questions on it. 2 of the smaller questions were things that we missed between an equipment list and a line drawing that were model number changes. That was it. Everything else was like you say, can I put a dumpster? I didn't read this portion, I'm an idiot. You know, so and so and so.
There's a lot of those.
There was a lot of just people just trying to push the bid through. And then when we saw the pricing come through in the bids, let's put it this way. The winning bid came in at $330,000 less than the highest bid. Out of 7 bidders, there was a $300,000 spread. The purchasing agent asked us why. And I said, everybody bid it. Not everybody was qualified. The person who won was the person that was qualified. Simple as that. If you write it the right way, you're going to get the right people to, you're going to weed out the people that you don't want there in the first place, or the ones that you need to change their drawings and such. So anyhow, we got into our drawings. So like you said earlier, you want to make changes to where you want to put stuff. Well, this is how we did it. We tell them exactly in the rack what goes where. We tell them exactly on the terminations, this is how you terminate the Cat 5 cable. This is how we want the serial done. All of these documents. We even tell them on the damn power strip where I want one plugged in. And I will go back and check every room. We even have, come on, I'll get to another one. We even have one on here that my guy, the maniac, I call him, he actually has a wire schedule with every single wire that's in the lectern. Make, manufacturer, length, I mean, he's ridiculous.
Terminations.
I told him, I said, you're going and checking that, I'm not checking that. So anyway, as a whole, what my job is, aside from this is how generally we do one of the projects. So I just took this project out of our book we did last year. The client is either us or the department. In this case, it was our library. That's me. I work with the integrators. That's Dave right here from CCS. That's me. We're farting around on this lift because we couldn't get this lift to work because of those guys putting the lift, the shield in the ceiling. So anyway, what happened is that is a giant plenum shroud. If any of you guys had to deal with a plenum shroud before, anything you put motorized or powered in a ceiling, a plenum ceiling, should be in that shroud or it won't pass code. That shroud is a 3 foot by 3 foot, 300-pound piece of steel nightmare. Because you need to now put this motorized lift inside of that finished box that's in the ceiling. Good luck. Those guys hated me. 3 weeks for them to get those 2 boxes in and to get them in square and level with the lifts. 3 weeks. It was not easy. It was our first attempt at these plenum shrouds. It was an absolute nightmare. So this is the finished ceiling. It is a wooden ceiling. And that's what the lift looks like. It's hard to see, but that's what the lift looks like in a finished ceiling. Nightmare. But my job is to make sure all of this works right, make sure the electricians get their stuff done, the construction guys get their stuff done, and these geniuses out here in left field, I'm sure all of your purchasing departments are just perfect, right? Okay. Yeah. This is Mike's program we were talking about earlier. This is our main page. Every lectern we walk into, if they can't figure out what that means, we got a problem, right?
Okay.
Well, guess what? We have to put a sticker above the top of the touch panel that says, push here to start.
Yes.
First day of class, what's somebody do? pushed the sticker where it said push here to start. Had 2 PhDs. No joke. Called us in, one of the students went over and hit the panel lit up, and he was like, all right, you can go now. I feel real bad. The class is all laughing their heads off, but it's great. So anyway, that's our start point right there for all of our lecterns. And this is, once this guy's activated, here's the room. So if you notice right there, we got a quick, what we call an idiot message. So whatever source they pick across here, it tells you right there. Well, the computer's not powered on. So
It's detecting the sync from the original, from the signal. If it doesn't see any sync or signal on there, it's going to give you that message. It's same
our good
thing
friend
with-
Edith, right?
Nice,
Yeah.
So once they fire up the PC, this goes away and they're good to go. Same thing with the doc cam, Blu-ray, every one of these sources. And the cool one for the HDMI and the VGA actually puts a picture up here of what an HDMI and a VGA look like with the FN 2-screen monitor, control, delete, whatever the hell. And he puts that little thing in there. This page, this is the one that Crestron is trying to steal our guy for. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Just as a, how many classrooms you have? We have, right now, we're probably about 85, well, probably more than that, probably DM rooms.
We're over 100.
Okay, we're over 100, and every room has the same program. Doesn't matter if you got duals, or it doesn't matter what type of system's in there, but it's all Crestron DM. It doesn't matter if it's a System 2 processor, a System 3 processor, still all one touch panel program and all one processor program.
Right.
Okay, and what really is really unique about this thing, this is all on the touch panel. So I can just come in there, preloaded touch panel, preloaded processor.
Once you're on this source page, a little technician button hides in the corner here. Hit the technician button, we put a backdoor code in, brings us to this guy. So the instructors can't get to that. We only know the code and we get to that. And this is where Scott's saying is we can come in here. I could take this touch panel from my CBC room and I can go to a BEH room that's got a different projector, a different document camera, a different combo unit. Put the touch panel
No
in,
microphones.
plug the touch panel in, wait for it to boot, and now I can make the changes right here. Oh, I have an aux microphone, enable it. System 2, System 3, enable it.
Oh, I get it.
Choose the
Okay.
projector
Yeah.
driver. So this one has a projector that's a Panasonic. This one has one that's an Epson. Change it right there. Change my EDIT set to the new projector. I went from a 1080 room to a 1920 room. I could change it right there. All this stuff I could change on the fly at the touch panel, hit save, done. No more going back to the classroom. No more going back to the office saying, Mike, push a new program. We can do it all now from the touch panel.
If you want to add a wireless microphone to a room, actually you can just go into
Right there.
Yeah, you can actually enable wireless microphone. You can get up to 2 wireless microphones that actually are already programmed in there. But you don't see it, and when you save it, it actually shows up at the front end of the program.
This one right here is another one. We have a shut-off, 3 hours, 6 hour, depending on the classes. Some of them have 3-hour classes, some of them 6-hour, or not 6-hour classes, 2 3-hour classes. If the room's not in use, I'll get to that on the next slide, how they shut down. So within Fusion, what Crestron gives us out of the box, if most of you guys have Fusion, don't have Fusion, I highly recommend getting it.
Similar global viewer or anything, it's more of a monitoring program.
These are the things out of the box that Crestron gives us. So you're able to see your display power, what source you're on, how many hours you're on it, picture mute, blah, blah, blah. This is what Mike did. And there's more down here that I can't get to because the slide didn't fit. But we can count how many hours each device in the room has been used, the doc cam, the Blu-ray. And one of the reasons why we did this is this stinking VCR. We were trying to kill it off campus, and people are coming back saying, well, I still use it. Well, now we know exactly how many times it's been used, which buildings. We take this time. He actually gets an email alert every time a VHS button is touched, goes back to Fusion. We find out what classroom it was in, what time it was in, and we contact that instructor and say, end of the year,
Reminder, yeah.
this is going away, contact the library, get your stuff switched over to digital. So that is what drove us to build this big, giant sheet. And like I said, it goes further. I mean, we can tell you anything that happens in our rooms at any time, all because of this. Crestron said that he maxed the memory.
We maxed the
We maxed the memory on the touch panel.
Right.
and we almost maxed the memory on the DMPS from all the things that were put in there. So we had to build our own Fusion server. Our network guys could not build our own Fusion server for us. They kept crashing. Mike built our own Fusion server.
And we just house it ourselves, and we just use it on there. We do run Global Viewer. We have probably around, well, after this summer, we'll probably have about 40 rooms left that we still use GVE with to monitor those rooms. But we mainly monitor in any other new rooms. It's just automatically part of the program that we push in there.
We got 10 minutes left, so I'm just going to run through really fast, and I want to get in a couple of questions with you guys and talk about that. This is just one of our latest classrooms. This is actually where the Restaurant Owners Group meeting is going to take place in this room here. If you guys are doing collaboration spaces or not. So we had 10 little cubes around the room here. This is what one looks like. So they got a dirt wall marker board here, all your local inputs, PC mounted in the back, and the instructor station in the middle of the room. From the instructor station, there's actually a control rack on this side of the room. They could take any source from any monitor and send it to any monitor in the room. So we could see what group 1 is doing on everybody's screens. I could show what the lectern is doing on everybody's screens. I could then break out and give these guys control here, and they could work independently on their own. And the instructor walks around from place to place to place and says, oh, well, let's see what table 5 is doing, and sends table 5 to everybody in the room. And then all I have to do is go back and hit another button at the touch panel, and everybody gets the control back of their screens. So it's similar to what everybody's doing right now.
That wasn't a standard program.
No.
Well, okay, no, no, this is.
However, it is there.
Yeah.
These are dirt walls. Have any of you guys ever used dirt walls before? They're really, really slick. So this is a monitor behind glass. If you notice, it's really, really, really up to the edge. So they paint the back side of the glass to match your monitor viewing. If you follow what I'm saying there. You can write right over this with the regular whiteboard marker. So it's just glass. The monitor's back there, and it's a piece of glass. You just wipe it off. They're really, really cool. They're expensive, but they're cool. This wall right here is a 12 by 14. It's 22 grand. And that doesn't include the 60-inch screen behind it. But they're vented. There's power inside. There's data inside, and you can remove them. This wall is removable. You can literally take it down and put it up in another building. And they claim, if you move it twice, it pays the cost of 2 drywall stud walls, if you were to move it. We're not moving it ever. We didn't choose it either, though. This was one of our video walls we just did lately. This was about 8 years old. It was an old cube, so they had it at an angle because of the viewing on the cube. You couldn't quite see the projection. So this was there years and years ago, so they wanted to change it. So we knocked it down, changed it, and shortened our wall up, took the angle off the wall, and put an actual video wall up. Planar was impressed with it, and they did a case study on it, and that was pretty cool. They did a press release in like 80 magazines all over the internet, picked this thing up. I'm getting emails like crazy now, and all they did was just do the wall up. But it's kind of cool, because a lot of the people that reach out to you, they want to know more about it, and then find some challenges and some things that, the more you talk about a project, the more things you think yourself, you've had it right, and then you're like, man, I wish I did this. Man, I wish I did that. I got a list of things I wish I could have changed on this after I did it. But it came out awesome and it looks great. Some more things there. We hosted CCMCU, magazine, blah, 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 blah. The reason why we're putting this on there is it's something to empower your staff. If you get your staff to buy in, like Scott was saying, it feels good to have a poster on your wall in your office of a project you worked on. And then when you have faculty come in and they see that, they know, I might want to listen to this guy. They're not just a cart jockey bringing in the camera and the VCR and all that stuff on the cart. You know, these guys know what they're doing now. What we all do is a specialized field. There's no degree at a university to get what we did. All of us have a degree in something other than audiovisual, I guarantee it. And mine's in broadcast, but it's the closest thing to audiovisual. It's still got a camera and a button that you push and all that. But for the most part, there is no specialized unit for what any of us do. We all learned on the job. I mean, I guarantee you nobody here knows how to do anything. We're all learning every day we do something, right? Man, that's awesome.
This is a couple statements that I try to, instill it to the staff. It's, kind of like, well, we don't do that. It's not always what we do, it's what we can do. It's where to step out of your comfort zone. And this is actually where a lot of it work. And, you know, right now, you know, IT, we're going through a transition, the directors and a whole bunch of other things, a reorg and everything going on. So we try to keep up, not just in a holding pattern. No matter what they do on that side, we're always going to be moving forward. And we're always going to be trying to do something different. Up here, just in case you guys want to grab one or just take a look at them, we actually had the planner installation that we've done, which no one ever told me to do or anything like that. Coming from Louisiana State University, you know, everything's based on data and everything like that. And I asked them and said, well, what data do you want me to keep when I started there? And they come, oh, maybe we should start keeping data. You know, so I haven't heard anything from it. So what I did is this is in the 4th year that I've been doing, we've done a year-end report, you know, that was not, no one told us to do it. It was something that I could take the staff, their accomplishments of what we're doing in every service area that we do that.
You said doo-doo.
Yeah.
Do, okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Excuse me.
Thank you, I'm here all night.
Yeah. Doesn't take much for him. Okay. But if you want to take a look at a couple samples of that, our law school that we did, they did a paper in Sound Communications magazines. We have this is actually our bid specifications that we put into the bid documents. It's actually a 16-page document that we went through line by line, word for word to make sure we understood it better than the contractors or anybody else. And giving this to our planning construction, and they were just totally in awe of what we did. Even the line drawings we have, there's 12 pages of line drawings here. And there's the line drawings, okay? And, you know, if you want a sample of the service level agreement, or actually, I just had a meet your manager Q&A with me in AV Network magazine. So, any other questions, comments, concerns, or what can we do to help you out, or what?
The last time you meet the manager of you,
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. And the reason why is this, is because I forwarded it on to a couple of my staff, simply saying, okay, this is your career, this is what you've done, this is what you want to do for the remainder of your professional life. Here's a good example, and I encourage anyone to either pick that piece of paper up or go to AV Network and find out a little bit more about Scott. Because
you'll be able to tell I'm a little old school in my
Yeah.
thinking, because they were talking about collaboration, and my big thing with collaboration is you can't be face-to-face talking to somebody.
Yeah,
With all these social media and everything else like that, you can't gauge anything, and everything is misinterpreted. You know, it'll supplement that and follow up, but not actually.
yeah, and I highly recommend that. Are you gonna give me a beer now?
Yes, thank you.
That's on the side.
Okay, all right.
Scott, could you make any of this stuff available electronically?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Our cards are here. You guys, if anybody wants any of this, shoot us an email, and we'll send you the drawings. We'll copyright them, of course. But, yeah, any of the drawings, any of the articles, anything like that you want to see.
Well, we really can't
whatever.
copyright the specifications because we hunt and peck and everything from all over.
We
the
stole it like everybody else.
We stole it like everybody else, so I'm sorry. Okay. All right, plagiarized right here. Okay.
You guys have a large school, and you said you're pretty fortified in that specific area. Do you have any off-site locations? And
Yeah.
how do you support, what's your level?
We have our Shadow Lane campus, which is on the other side of on the other side of the city. That's where our med school is going to be built. It's where our nursing school and dental school are now. They have their own IT/AV people over there. When they need a Hail Mary, they call us. One of our former coworkers in our IT department is now over there. So he feels better because he's got a good relationship with us. As a matter of fact, I just got an email from yesterday, they want to go through their rooms and start gutting and replacing stuff, so.
Try to keep the same standard.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the campus. We have a campus in Singapore, but I don't even know if there's anybody.
Oh, no, I think that was dissolved a couple of years
Yeah,
ago.
so other than that, it's just our campus and one satellite.
Yeah. I tried to go to Singapore, but